Good afternoon. I'm Michael Kozort, Superintendent of Schools for the Nantucket Public Schools, and I have with me Dr. John Buckey, the Principal of Nantucket High School. Early this afternoon, we got a call that the high school was going into lockdown, that there appeared to be a threat. Immediately, the other three schools went into lockout, as we have been trained, and the police showed up very quickly and entered the high school building to assess the threat. When the police department arrived at the scene at the high school, they were in control of the situation. They assessed the threat. We were able to determine after a period of time that it was a false alarm. We did not know that, and so we were acting under the assumption that this was a very real threat until we could determine otherwise. I would like to say that the high school students and staff performed perfectly as they were trained for any threat to their safety. Teachers made judgments about whether to leave the premises with their students or go into shelter in place in their classrooms. Once it was determined that it was a false alarm, we gathered parents into the high school, and then the parents of middle schoolers went over to the middle school gym. In the high school gym, one of the challenges that we had was the reunification of parents and students. And the high school administration performed as trained, and we had a lot of people here doing what they were trained to do. It was scary for parents, and I can appreciate that our parents were very alarmed. We had probably 100 parents, maybe more, that came to the school system to pick up their kids. And for the most part, they were understanding and respectful as we went through our protocols. Dr. Buckey?
I would just like to begin by saying how proud I am of the high school staff. Certainly we undertake emergency preparedness drills. This was certainly not a drill. It was perceived to be very real, and our staff acted in a professional manner. They did exactly as they are trained to do. It went flawlessly, in my opinion, for them. As it turned out to be a false alarm, it's a teachable moment for us. We can now go back and do a debrief with staff. We did a brief debrief immediately after school today, talk about the things that went well, things that we can address moving forward. We will be meeting with the Nantucket Police Department, and I would just like to say that they did an admirable job for us. The coordinated response and the professionalism, our school was in good hands from the time the lockdown announcement was made. And so we will be debriefing with them on Monday and look for some takeaways. I appreciate everyone's support. We'll be sending out information to families of students who may be experiencing some anxiety, understandably, from today's drill. Fairwinds and Gosnold have been great community partners for us, and they have provided some resources that we will make available to families. But at the end of the day, we are all very happy that this was a false alarm, and that there are certainly many takeaways for our students, our staff, but we are proud of our initial response to this.
I would just add that we also had a debrief with the middle school faculty, and likewise they performed just as they had been trained, and they did a great job. The immediacy of the response by the police and other law enforcement officials on Nantucket was amazing, as were the numbers that showed up in what we thought at the time was a very credible threat. And so, outstanding job by those people involved. We apologize that it was a false alarm, and yet in the moment, everybody was acting appropriately and ensuring the safety of the students in the Nantucket Public Schools. So thank you to the students, thank you to the staff, thank you to the police, and thank you for your understanding, parents.